Hello everyone and welcome. In this video, we're going to be improving our password program. So in our previous video, we created a password generator, okay? And that's what you see on the right here. This was all of our code that we wrote, lines 1 to 49, where we were able to generate a password by writing a Python script like so. And in our goal here would be to create some sort of a website like this, or a web app I should say, where we're going to have like a title called password maker. We're going to write a little explanation that this application will generate a password based on the desired criteria. We're going to set a length of the password. We're going to say it's minimum 8. We're not going to put a maximum just for this exercise. And we're going to create these 3 toggles. So these are going to be buttons, toggleable buttons I should say, where you get to enable if you want uppercase letters, numbers, and special characters. And then once we click generate password, it will display the password down below. Right. And what this is using is called Streamlit. Streamlit is a external module that you can install into your system, and you start writing Streamlit based applications in Python, and your code is going to look like this by the end. And so for us to get there, we're going to use a cheat sheet to help us kind of incorporate some of the Streamlit code that are supported by Python. And then we're just going to look at this website with the landing page of Streamlit company, which is going to explain what it does. So it's like a really fast way to build apps, right? So I wouldn't say that this, you can build like really like publicly available apps right away, but it's a really quick way to create something called prototypes, especially in programming, where you don't really have to worry about design and functionality. You just really worry about the main goal of your program and kind of display it in a nice little web app. So let's watch this little 42-second video here. So you use an editor, you import Streamlit, and then you start, coding. And then if you do that, it generates something like that on your web browser, because it's a web application that we're trying to create based on using the built-in Streamlit functions and methods that it provides. And it has a bunch of things you can do, and it's really easy. As you edit your file, right, you get to I guess incorporate the components that are available in Streamlit, and you get to make your app like so. All right, so let's get started. We're going to be modifying this code, but you need to, first and foremost, install Streamlit. And since Streamlit is part of the external module packages that are available in Python, you're going to need to ask Python to download and install that into your computer. So what you can do is go Python. Now, Mac users will write a 3 here. But non-Mac users, you'll just leave it as Python. You're going to hit -M. You're going to say pip. You're going to ask install Streamlit. Okay. And then for me, it will say that, hey, like all my requirements are satisfied because I already have Streamlit installed. But for you, you will be going through the whole process of installing Streamlit like so. And the command to do that was running this code here, Python -M. So we're running a module called pip, which is a package manager that is provided by Python, and we're going to install this package called Streamlit, and it's going to go through a whole bunch of process and do the installation for you. Let's clear this. And what we're going to do is now edit. I made a copy of our previous password file, and what we're going to do is just edit it so that we can start to have a Streamlit based application. So we're going to say that we're going to have some external import here, where we're going to say import Streamlit as st, because Streamlit is a little lengthy in terms of typing, and if I need to use methods and functions that belongs to that module over and over again, I don't want to write Streamlit over and over, so I'm just using the keyword as to sign that, hey, this is being defined as st. And then our internal report is obviously we're going to use our random module, so we're going to import that as random. And if you really want it, you can just import call that as r, and anytime you use a random function or random method from the random module, you can use r dot rather than random dot. But I'm going to leave it like so. So our goal here is to create a password manager generator in Streamlit. Okay. And what we're going to do is just go over to the cheat sheet here, and then we're going to use st.write and just get something written down, maybe something like this. So we want to print that, so we can say st.write instead of print, because print will send it to the console. But what I want to do is ask Streamlit to write something onto the web app. So we can say Streamlit st.write, welcome to our password generating app. Let's see if that gets processed. And then we will comment this out, and we'll comment the rest of our code out as well. And let's see how that works. We're going to go do Python -m Streamlit, and then we're going to run password.py. So we're asking Python to run a module called Streamlit, and it's going to run a file called password2.py. And of course, Mac users, you should be adding a 3 after the end. Run this code, and it's going to be generating this web app that is being hosted by your computer right now at port 8501. And we have wrote this message, welcome to our password generating app. And now we get to start creating our Streamlit app very, very quickly. And this is a really nice way to create fast prototypes as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to setting here, and we're going to say run on save, and we're going to use dark mode and like so. And we're going to just work with that so that it's going to be easier on our eyes. Awesome. So we did a program introduction part. And in Streamlit, if you want to write something onto the web app, right, instead of using print takes it here. We can use st.write to say that little message here. But in our lesson, what we have here is, well, we can create a header. So let's create a header, and then let's see what that does. So if I were to say we have a header, we'll call it the password maker. And if I were to save that code, all right, since I under settings that run on saves, because we're in development mode, it's going to auto update and add in any changes that we make on the fly every time we save, and so forth. And right underneath, since we have st.write, we have the welcome to our password generating app. All right, so let's see what I used here. This application will generate a password based on desired criteria. So let's copy that portion right here, like so. Then get rid of some quotation marks. And we have now updated our st.write. Instead of saying, hey, welcome to our password maker generator, we wrote that this application will generate a password based on the desired criteria. So we have a nice little header here and so forth. And then in our actual app, we wanted to do enter the length of the password, minimum 8, which is this portion right here. We want to get them to enter the password length. All right. So if I were to do that, it's going to get generated here. So that's not what we want. So we want to Control C. We have an end of file error. I'm going to comment that out and rerun my code, because I actually ended up crashing my code because I stopped it, because I enabled something that should have been kept on being commented out, because this requires input from the terminal, and that's not what we want. We want all our inputs to be handled by Streamlit. So if I refresh this code, it's going to say, well, the site can't be reached because the server is not running. So I rerun the server like so. And then on one of your browsers, it should auto open. If it doesn't, just copy one of these two, and then you can get into the app like so. Alrighty. So here we go. We have this set. We want to set our password length. So we're going to create a variable called password.length. And then we're going to look at our little API cheat sheet here and look at, well, we need input-based widgets. So we're going to go input widgets, and then we're going to need a numeric input. So we have numeric input, and let's look at how that can be added. So it's called st.number. So we're going to go st.number input, and it has some criterias, all these things that we need to worry about. So it says here, label, a short label explaining what the input is for. The label can optionally contain GitHub flavor markdown, all that jazz, and so forth. So if we scroll down, we can have a little example here. If I write a label message here, it's going to go on top. So we're going to say our label we can say that our label argument is set to, let's say, for example, set password length. Okay, and let's save that code, and so let's see what it does to our code. And it says here, set password length, and obviously, like, that has been updated. We're going to write a comma here because we need to set more arguments. Okay, so we wanted a minimum value of length of 8, so we can say the minimum value. And value is set to 8. So we're going to put a comma. And then we're going to set a step. We can't go up by positives or negatives. So I'm going to say step is equal to, we're going to go up by 1. And then, and it's a good practice. It's a very good practice. So always set a key to say that, hey, like this component had a name. So we're going to say this component's name is password length, so forth. And we have saved this code. Let's rerun our code and see what happens. So when we if refresh our code and basically rerun this password maker app on Streamlit, we have our ST header writing this bigger title message here. This application will generate a password based on desired criteria. That's written by st.write. And then here we have this toggle where we have set a value of 8 and it goes up by 1. And what it's doing is every time we interact and even write stuff like 20, where we can erase and set it to 8 and press enter, that is updating this variable called password underscore length. And we have now this component that's named password underscore length that is changing our variable's value password underscore length, like so. And that's awesome to have. And for us now, the next part is what we have to do is write code so that we can enable these toggles. So what we can do is go back to our input widgets and see where the toggles are, and we have this activate deactivate toggle, right? And we want to use st toggle, we want to have a label and all that and so on. So how it works is we say that a variable is assigned to a value of the st toggle feature, and if it's turned on, this value has a Boolean value of true. And if you turn it off, this variable will have a value of false. So it's a on, off, true, false editor or value editor for a variable, right? And then we can write if statements or branching, where if that value is true, we can do some special code and whatnot, and that's what we're going to do. So to help us get started, we're going to enable all of these because these are our password criterias. These were our password criterias, and we set them like so. All the lowercase letters are characters from 97 to 123 in the ASCII table. Uppercases are found from 65 to 91. Digits are found from 48 to 58, and all the special characters are held in these 1, 2, 3, 4 separate lists. And then our password underscore symbols, like all the possible symbols that we can have, starts with lowercase, and then we will extend that list by adding on different either the uppercase list, digits list, or special list if they're turned on. So now we're not going to enable this part, but we're going to try to mimic this by using this toggle feature. So we can say that we have an upper toggle is equal to st toggle, and we should write a message of include uppercase characters. Okay, and then we can say that if upper toggle is true, which we can just write that. You don't need to write this because this is a Boolean value. As long as this is true, we will do all of that. So we don't need to write all this. If upper toggle is true, then what we can do is extend password symbols with and include uppercases in the list of symbols that we can choose from, like so. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. If I were to refresh our code now, we have this toggle, which if I enable it, that'll take upper toggle to be true, and it will add uppercase password symbols to here. All right, and so on. Now, what we need to worry about if it's false. If it's false, we want to remove all the values from uppercase. So we will probably have to improve this feature later on. Basically, we're not going to worry about that yet. We're just going to make a very basic version of this password maker. So we're not going to worry about like removing it from our copy. Okay, so we're going to do that, and we're going to follow the same logic here. So in this scenario, if we're going to have special toggle is equal to SD toggle include special characters, spell characters properly, and then if special toggle is true, what we're going to do is extend the password symbols with special characters like so. And then lastly, we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to get rid of all that. Or underneath it, we can say if digit toggle. So we need to create a digit toggle because st toggle include numbers. Then if we can say if digit underscore toggle is true, what we're going to do is extend with digits like so. So we'll get rid of this like so. So we'll save our work, and what we now have is 3 toggles, and we can turn these off or turn them on. And right now only the turning on works because we are just continuously extending this thing called password symbol, and then we can turn them off and whatnot. So we can rerun, and right now our password list of symbols should be just lowercase unless we start adding them on. Next thing, what we want to do is add a generate password button. So that is a button. So we're going to go back to our input widgets, and we're going to go to this section here, and we're going to use an ST button, which is going to execute all this. So we're going to now ask Streamlit to put a button called, we'll make a make password button is equal to the result of ST button being clicked. So we'll say this is called generate password. If I save this code, we'll have this generate password button right here. If I click it, nothing happens because we haven't wrote functionality yet, but we have assigned that if it's clicked, it will be true. So we'll make underscore password button to be true. Now what we're going to do is say that if make password button is true, we're going to now enable all these code within the if statement. So we will uncomment those out. We'll let this loop go, and then instead of, we can also print it to say that it worked, but we can also do an st write afterwards, and we can write the same thing as in that new password has been generated. So let's rerun this code. We want 8 passwords. I want to include uppercase and digit and numbers. And if I generate this password, it created a password like so, and we have outputted that as print because print sends us to the console. But when we generate password, we wanted to do an st.write and so forth. Okay, so that was a very quick way of making your first Streamlit application ever. Right? It's very simple. It's just really adding on little features that are all explained within the documents that they provide. And Streamlit is a way to create very fast prototype. And we have created this password maker very simple by just adding a couple extra stuff to our previous password generator. Anyways, as always, thank you for watching and stay classy.